You're good to go.
All right. Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Pasadena Village 1619 project discussion. Uh, we have a special guest today. Helane Rheingold is going to do another one of her wonderful art presentations. This time she's going to be talking about African art. And without further introduction, I'll just turn it over to Helane. So Helane, it's all yours. Take us away.
Thank you, Dick. It's always good to be with your group. Always, always. If you've never been involved with one of my conversations, it's truly a conversation. It's not a lecture. And so as we go along, if you have a comment, please don't hesitate. Raise your hand. Hannah will tune you in, and we can discuss it as we go. There's also going to be a chat if you decide to leave your questions for the end. Always enough time to discuss whatever it is that you found interesting in what I do. I live in Connecticut, and I live in a part of Connecticut that doesn't have very good internet, service. So I'm going to get rid of my face, because you just need to hear my voice really, and I'll come back on afterwards. Okay, so we are looking at a map of, everybody tell me quick.
Africa.
Of Africa, exactly. Second largest continent, most populous continent, 54 countries, and over 2,000 languages and dialects. Very diverse. We will be talking about this area. This is sub-Saharan, basically sub-Saharan, middle Western Africa, which is where our slave population came from. Countries, Nigeria, Mali, into the Congo, and so on. These borders were very, very, very flexible. Very flexible. The slave trade to the Western Hemisphere basically started about 350 years ago, but it was ongoing for hundreds and hundreds of years. The Arabs traded African slaves into the subcontinent of India and beyond. Okay, so we're talking 350 years of bringing people from this part of Africa to North America, South America, and Central America. 1690, we have about 30,000 that are imported. 1790, we have 85,000 imported. And in 1821 to 1830, you have 130,000 people that come through. Primarily men. And the trading was between Europe and the various chieftains in this part of Africa. They would send captives from wars. They would send criminals. And they would send mostly men. Primarily men. May I go on?
Yes.
Okay, then. This piece is at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. It's from the Kingdom of Benin, which is now part of Nigeria. And if we understand this piece, we really get a good sense of the culture and the sociology of this part of Africa. What are we looking at?
Looks like a couple.
Perfect.
A man and a woman.
Excellent. Male and female. How do you know they're a couple? Do they know each other?
Oh, well, yeah. One of them has his arm around the other, and the other seems to have breasts.
Wonderful. Perfect.
Oh, and I look at that. I see something else too. So
you should. You should. Yes. Yes. Oh, yes. This is known as the Dogon couple, D-O-G-O-N. I think you all got a copy of the syllabus. I always send that out with the name of the art, the name of the artist, if possible, and the year it's done. The Dogon couple in this part of Africa is a fixture for hundreds of years. What is it made of? What is it made of?
Is it clay?
Think about where it comes from.
Bronze?
Think about where it comes from.
No, I guess not.
What do we have lots of in the jungle?
wood.
Wood.
Bingo. It's wood.
Yeah.
And these things are made of wood. We'll get to bronze stuff in a minute, but these are made of wood and they're carved individually. We do not know the name of the carver because they were considered craftsmen, not artists. If your father was a carver, you became a carver. If your mother was a textile weaver, you became a textile weaver. This is how it was gone. This is how it goes through the generations. Dogon couple, male and female. Yes, they certainly know each other. Are they standing or sitting?
Sitting.
Sitting. Now, what might that indicate?
They're at home.
What?
They're at home.
Where do well, they're certainly very comfortable with themselves. Where do most people in a village sit?
On the ground.
On the ground. No, they're sitting on a stool. What
Yeah.
might that indicate?
Status.
Bingo. Important. They're important. And this couple is considered the first couple, just like our Adam and Eve. Okay. We have to understand African art because it's magical. It's a magical intermediary between the spirits, the ancestors, and the living people. That's what African art is about. It's primarily functional. Western art is mostly what? Decorative. Their art is meant to be used. This comes out at important times in the life cycle. In the life cycle. This is at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. See what else we can determine. So they're sitting on a stool. They have status. Okay. What else do we see?
They're the same height.
What does that indicate?
Equality.
It certainly does indicate equality. Absolutely. Can you all see my arrow? I'm looking for my laser. Here we go. Yes, they're equal. Male and female equal. Wow.
You know,
go ahead.
I just have a question. On the male, you can see something from his chin, like it might be a beard or a goatee.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
But on the
very good observation. What does a beard indicate usually?
Virility.
Age.
Oh, age.
yeah.
Age. Wisdom.
But look at the woman. There's
Yes.
something coming from her chin too.
She has a lip ornament.
Oh, okay.
And they're both about almost the same size. Male and female equal. This is a concept that these people had for hundreds of years. Whoops.
Yeah.
Oh,
the back.
wow. This is the back view. Do you all see the stool?
Yeah.
Okay. You can clearly see his arm. Not only are they really the same size, but their bodies look very similar, don't they? Negative and positive space, absolutely. What might she have on her back?
A baby.
A baby. Excellent. Yeah. And what might he have on his back, which is missing?
Is it a weapon?
Some arrows.
Yeah.
It's a quiver.
I see the stool is decorated also.
Yes, it is. Yeah. Yes, it is.
In Ghana, the Asante Haney sat on what was called the royal stool.
Oh, oh my goodness, this is a good group. We're going to be going into that. Good for you. Good for you.
Yeah.
It is decorated. And these represent little people. Let me go back.
Oh.
Yes, represent little people. Little people. Remember, these are people who are not, these craftsmen were not trained. All right. So this is a pretty good job for someone who's learned basically on the job. They're supported by little people. Who might the little people be?
They're subjects.
No.
They're ancestors.
They're ancestors.
Wow.
Exactly. So what does that say about the ancestor? We want them to do what?
To protect us.
Hold us up.
Hold us up.
Hold us up.
Hold us up. Yes.
Support us.
Yes, support us. Ancestors are very, very important. Very important. Notice she's got a kind of little difficult to see. She's got her hair done in cornrows. Do we know what cornrows are?
Yeah.
Yes, this is a style that people use today. And he, let me go back to him, is wearing a cap, which indicates that he's a king.
Mm.
Only kings wear caps like this.
It's also a single stool. They're not sitting on separate stools.
Yeah,
Exactly. They're equal. They're together. What? Now, let me go back to this one. You guys are very good. Okay. She's got the baby. What is her job? What is her job?
She takes care of the baby.
And before she takes care of the baby, what's her job?
Cooking.
Come on now. Before she takes care of the baby, what's her job?
To prepare meals.
How about to have the baby?
Oh, okay.
Right? How about she has to give birth to the baby? Can he do that?
No.
No. Oh, he can't do that. And he's got the quiver with the missing arrows. What's his job?
He's the hunter.
Protection and hunter.
Yes, he brings the food and he protects. Can he do her job?
No.
No.
No, absolutely not. Can she do his job as well as he does his job when she's pregnant or raising children?
No.
No. So each job is dependent on what?
Cooperation.
Thank you. Dependent on cooperation. Exactly. And one job is not any more important than the other, is it?
No.
No. That's exactly what this is saying to us. Even the faces look alike. Even the faces look alike.
How
Now,
old is this piece?
well, it's wood. So this
Yeah.
one at the Met, maybe 120 years. But because it's wood, we know that these existed way before that. But what happens to wood in the jungle?
It breaks down.
It rots, it disintegrates. Yeah. So
Can I ask a question?
Please.
A disturbing, maybe. How did it get to the Met?
We're going to talk about that. We can talk about that at the end. That's a very good question. Very cogent question.
Turn it to the, okay, later.
Very cogent question and a thoughtful question. What is he pointing to?
He's pointing to her breast and to his member.
And his genitals.
Yeah.
So, yes, hopefully she will be fertile.
Mm-hmm.
And she'll be able to feed the babies that way.
Mm-hmm.
When I do this with high school students, okay, first, of course, you got it. They catch that right away. So I say to them, because they caught it and they're laughing already. So I say, well, what does that say about him? And inevitably, there'll be one young man who will say, well, he's got it and he can take care of the job.
Mm-hmm.
He can do the job.
Oh.
So the Dogon couple, they also have on their bodies marks, crisscrossing hatch marks. People in this country do a lot of that now. What is that called? Tattoos.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, in Africa, it's called scarification. The more you have, the better looking you are, and the more important you are. Now, how do we create that sort of thing in a primitive society? Cutting, exactly. And where do we get the color?
Plants.
Not plants.
Charcoal.
Yes, we go to the fires, and when the charcoal is cool, we rub it into the cut, and it heals, and then you've got your scarification.
Mm-hmm.
Any questions about the Dogon? Because I forgot one more thing. We have the ancestors. We have both of these figures have huge belly buttons. What's the story with the belly buttons?
Well, the belly button shows that you were born of a woman.
The belly button is the attachment, right? Is not the fetus attached to the belly button?
Yeah.
Yes. So we have the past generation, we have the present generation, And we have the
Future.
future generation. Exactly. And we want to have a lot of children. Why?
Survival.
Survival. And when I work with children, I always say, why do we want to have a lot of children? So that when we get old, they'll help us. Never fails to advertise. Can I go on from the Dogon?
Yes.
Yeah.
Have you got the culture now?
Oh.
Keep it in mind. Male and female, equal, dependent, but in a positive way, not in a negative way.
Interdependent.
Thank you. Much better word. Thank you, Dick.
That's gorgeous.
It's gorgeous, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's
Wow.
about 500 years old.
Mm.
And what might this be made of?
Ivory.
Ivory. We're going to be talking about ivory. Very important. Ivory from what animal?
Elephant.
Elephants. Yes. And this is where a lot of these tribes got their wealth from. Besides slaves, they imported ivory to Europe. And for every elephant that was killed, the chief, known as the Oba, OBA, the chief gets one tusk, and the person who killed the elephant gets the other tusk. This is how the chief gets his wealth. We're looking at a portrait, basically. It's only 9 inches high.
Oh,
Yes.
wow.
And it's
It feels like it has
pendant
a
mask. Where is a pendant worn?
necklace.
Around the neck. Yes, it's a pendant mask. Now I'm hoping you see some scarification. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. It's made of ivory. It's about 8 inches high. And this is a portrait of a king's mother. And the queen mother, the king's mother, is called the Ioba, Ioba. The Oba is the chief. We know her name. Her name was Idia, Idiya. This is, I said, over 500 years old.
Beautiful.
It's beautiful. This king so respected and appreciated his mother that he always wanted her, what? Around he always wanted her with him. She was politically astute. He raised her to the level of his senior advisors, gave her her own palace and her own female attendants. Idia. And around her head, anybody know the first Europeans that colonized this part of Africa?
Portugal.
Pardon me?
Portugal.
Portugal. Excellent. Portugal. They came with missionaries 1480s, 1490s. And so around her head, we have a little Portuguese soldier, a little Portuguese soldier, another Portuguese soldier. You see their little hats?
Yeah.
And in between the soldiers, we have a fish called a mudfish.
Oh.
Anybody know anything about mudfish?
No.
Mudfish are very interesting because they breathe under the mud and they breathe the air also. So this has some sort of magical significance because they're alive in 2 different places. And the thought was that your very first king came from the sea. So we've got the mudfish and we've got the Portuguese soldiers. And her name is Idia. What else can you tell me about it? Ivory, very precious. Yes.
Yeah.
What is around the bottom?
What around the bottom of it? We have some figures, just some figures.
Not of any particular significance.
No,
Okay.
just some figures. Probably, I think it's her attendants.
Uh-huh.
These are the people that are waiting on her.
Lower.
Yeah, these are the people that are waiting on her. There are two of these masks. One is here at the Metropolitan, the other one is in England. Okay, in London. White. And they keep the ivory as white as they possibly can by putting a solution of citrus fruit, citrus juice, and water. They want it as white as possible. What might that indicate?
This is it. That the lighter is more desirable.
Exactly right. That's exactly correct. Isn't that interesting? Exactly correct.
Well, I mean, do they do that in London, or did they traditionally do that with ivory?
No, this is traditional. This is traditional.
Wow.
This is how they kept anything that they made of ivory white.
Wow.
Was it always like that, or was it only after colonization?
Only, well, what do you think? If everybody living in a village and they're all the same, basically they're all, okay, obviously it's after colonization because these people, the Europeans come in, they're very powerful, aren't they?
Right.
Very powerful. Okay. And they're white. Okay.
Oh, beautiful.
God, these
Hand
things are so
carved. Yes,
beautiful.
gorgeous. Gorgeous. From Sierra Leone. Made for export. Because the people in this part of Africa are not going to use this. What do you think it might be for? And what is it made of? What's the most precious thing they have?
Well, I'm guessing it's ivory.
It is ivory, yeah.
And if it's made for export, then I guess it's for some European religion thing.
It's made, this was sent to Portugal.
Oh.
This was commissioned for a wealthy nobleman who could lift off the cover of this and store something in there that was very, very expensive. And you wanted to keep it dry.
Pepper?
What could it be? Not perhaps pepper, salt.
Oh.
Okay.
This is a salt cellar.
My gosh.
My goodness, yes. How really, look how gorgeous
Yeah.
this is. And we know it's for European export because we have roses here. It could very well have been on the nobleman's coat of arms. No roses in Africa here. No roses in Africa. And down at the bottom, you've got 4 dogs, 1 dog, 2 dogs, 3 dogs, and around the back, another dog. Dogs are very significant to these people because they think that dogs can hear things that humans can't. Is that not true?
Yeah.
Exactly. So they think dogs can hear spirits that we can't hear. How tall do you think this is? It's for his table.
Small. Tiny.
Give me a number.
6 inches?
Hmm?
Maybe 6 inches?
7 inches. Good eye. 7 inches.
My gosh.
My good. Yes. Yeah.
Well, then how large are those tiny little snakes at the bottom?
Very tiny and very fragile.
My gosh.
Yes, gorgeous. So I have to stop here and say, you know, when people think about Africa, not everybody, of course, but the word primitive always seems to come up, doesn't it?
Wrong about that.
Yeah. And my goodness gracious, I mean,
Yeah.
it speaks for itself, doesn't it?
Yes.
Lidded salt cellar. That's exactly what it is. Lidded salt cellar.
Question.
Please.
The people on the bottom?
Yes, who might those be? Remember, this is for export. Who might those be?
The people that it's commissioned for?
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yes, you have a male, you have a female here, and you have a male here. They're definitely not African.
You're right.
Yeah, yeah. Do you not play to your audience? Do you not? Someone's paying you for this.
Mm.
Yeah.
Ah,
Back to the stool again.
Mm.
Back to the stool again. Talk to me.
well, it's wood.
Wood. Remember, these are made from one piece of wood. These are not glued.
Mm.
What's happening here?
This is a woman
How do you know it's a woman?
because of the breasts, and I don't
And
see
how-
a male member.
Good, good. And how old is the woman?
She's old.
Gold.
Because she has breasts that sag, doesn't she?
Oh, okay. Okay.
Right? So
Yeah.
now you have an elderly woman doing what?
Supporting.
Support. Look how large her hands are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She is supporting whoever is sitting on this stool. This is called a prestige stool. It's 24 inches high.
Mm-hmm.
A nice, it's quite nice. It's quite high, is what I'm saying. She's also got that scarification on her abdomen. Do you see it?
Yeah.
Got her scarification.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think the hands are so big?
For supporting. Symbolically.
Yes. Strength.
Mm-hmm.
Strength.
Yeah.
Older woman. Strong.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Very strong. Can support the weight of whoever's going to sit on this.
And the
Prestige stool.
I think the feet are large too.
Tell me why.
Yeah.
Again, to support the body that's holding the seat or
Yes,
supporting
this
the
is
ability.
this may be an elderly person, but she's very strong.
Mm-hmm.
Right? She's very strong. This would be used during an investiture ceremony. What happens at the investitures? New king. Old king dies, new king comes in, sits on the stool, held up by perhaps one of his ancestors. This is an idealized face. We don't know who this is, but you got the concept?
Yes.
Age is respected. The female is respected. It's a patriarchal society, but the succession of the kingdom, the tribe, the chief goes through the mother.
Ah.
Yeah.
How does that work?
Are very respected. Did we not see that gorgeous pendant?
Yeah.
Women are very respected. Very respected. Prestige stool. Again, we don't know who did this. We have no idea who did this. These are all craftsmen. May I go on?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you getting, a lot of this art is intuitive, is it not? It speaks to you without having major explanations because these people couldn't read or write. So they had to get the message how? Visually.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, to me, these strong hands say it all. And the feet.
Mm.
What are we looking at here?
An altar?
Are
An
these
altar. Yes, excellent. An altar. And what do we see?
are these instruments?
You have some bells in the front,
Mm-hmm. Horns?
which are used to announce something or somebody.
Mm-hmm.
What else do we see?
What are those figures behind the bells?
Faces, the faces.
On the altar itself, yes, faces.
You have
The
little
body.
people. You have little people, right?
Yeah.
Support, right? Who might be in the center?
King?
King or Oba.
Oba?
And he's holding a ceremonial staff.
Mm-hmm.
What else do we see?
Ivory?
Ivory. Oh, we see tusks.
Yeah.
Tusks.
Yes. We see these huge tusks that are all carved. We're going to talk about that in a moment. Let's go back to the altar. The altar is round. Each family has their own altar that is not a royal altar, and that is rectangular. This is a royal altar. It's round.
Mm-hmm.
Let's look at some of these faces. Now remember, think about ancestors, think about a sense of family, think about who you want to have support you as you become the new Oba. Who might these faces belong to? Ancestors, former kings.
Yeah.
Is this exactly the way they look? No.
No, I think this is stylized. They all look
I say that I call them romanticized. Yes, of
okay,
course.
romanticized.
Same thing. Stylized is a great word. No problem. And in each one of these heads, which might be made of what? And someone had mentioned this material before.
Yeah.
Yes, this is made of bronze. And where do these people get bronze from?
They mine it, right?
No. This is one of the things that's imported. This is one of the things that's imported.
Iron.
Okay. One of the things that's imported from the West.
Oh.
And they've learned how to do these beautiful castings, which we're going to talk about in a moment. But I want to go back to, sorry guys, my mouse is very sensitive. I want to go back. We have these wonderful, wonderful carved ivory tusks. Some of them are 7 feet high. Big elephants, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember, the king gets one of the tusks of every elephant that's killed. Let's take a look at what's going on over here.
Yeah.
What could that be? Now, this is an altar. It's a royal altar. We bring offerings to an altar.
Right.
Yeah.
Blood.
What? Yes, it's blood. It's
my.
the blood of a leopard.
Oh.
It's a leopard.
It's a leopard.
How
The
do we
only person allowed to kill a leopard is the king. He does it once a year in a ritual. Leopards were considered the smartest, the fastest, the most beautiful, graceful animal, not the lion, but the leopard. So we have leopard blood here. And every year, the king comes, makes an offering to his who?
Ancestors.
That's it. Makes an offering to his ancestors. And when we have a new king, we have a successor, we certainly have a ceremony, and he's announced using these
Bells.
bells. All right, let's take a look. Let's take a look at one of the ivory tusks.
No, beautiful.
My goodness.
Yes, really. These are so impressive in person. 7 feet high. So impressive in person. I'm wondering if this, well, let me tell you a little bit about it. The Oba is at the top. Oh, we have a carving of the former chief. And we go down to the bottom. We start with carvings of some people. Then we might go to some soldiers. Then we might go to some priests. Then we might go to some members of the king's family. Then we might go to some advisors and so on. Does this remind anybody of something that we might find in the northwest of the North American continent?
Oh, totem poles?
Yes. Totem poles are histories of the people who live there. That's what this is, which I think is fascinating, right? So far apart geographically. Ivory tusk. Do we like it?
Beautiful.
It's gorgeous. Yeah, it's gorgeous. Yeah.
Could they have carved these before they got? I mean, where did they get the materials for carving this? Was this from the West, or did they have?
Yes. By this time, yes. Remember,
okay.
I say 350 years already of Western influence. Could they have gotten something from the Arabs too? Perhaps. Good question. Now, do we see our scarification?
Yes.
Do we see our hat?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we know it's an oba, right?
Mhm.
Yes.
And it's hollow in the back. Actually, the whole thing is hollow. And this would be where the tusk would go. Got it?
Okay.
Tusk goes here. What do we have around the neck? Now, I remember I
Beads?
said they beads made of what?
Well, these are metal. These
No.
are bronze, but
Yeah, no.
would there
but
other beads?
Yeah, absolutely. And those beads would be sign of great wealth.
Mm-hmm.
And the more you have, the wealthier you are, correct?
Gold.
Not gold,
Bronze.
not bronze.
Mhm.
All right, let's think back. I mentioned that the thought is that the very first oba comes from the sea.
Oh.
It rises from
Oh,
the sea.
shells.
Shells.
Not shells. Give me something else.
In the sea.
And
Bones?
I'm telling you that it not on
Bones?
this, because this is bronze, but in person it's
Bones?
red.
It's what?
Red.
Oh, it's
Coral?
Coral.
Coral. That's coral beads. Yes, coral beads. And remember, some of these people live inland. So the more coral you can bring from the sea, the wealthier you are. Am I right?
Beautiful.
Beautiful. It's cast in bronze. Does anyone know what the lost wax process is?
Yes.
Yes.
Want to tell us?
I
Go
think,
ahead.
okay, my recollection is they poured melted wax into a form of some kind,
Right.
and then removed it, and I've forgotten how the bronze got on the outside.
Okay. You're very close.
Yeah.
They take wax or clay and they do whatever shape they want to use. Okay. They put that in a mold.
Right.
They pour the molten metal, could be gold, because that's basically how our jewelry is made. They pour the molten material, the molten metal, into the wax, and the mold has 2 or 3 little straws that come out of it. The wax disappears through those little straws, and then the metal hardens, and you're left with this. And the lost wax method is over 6,000 years old and originated. Anybody know where it might have originated? Is it someplace on the continent of Africa?
Oh, really?
Egypt.
Wow. Oh.
Okay.
Because is not Egypt part of Africa?
Yeah.
Okay.
So did they carve all the details
On the wax? The wax.
Wax. Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
In reverse, though, because
Yes. Okay. We like it.
skill.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. This is a male. This is a male. We have his hat. This is a female. Notice the difference in the hat.
Yeah.
Do you see the scarification?
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay. Do you see the coral beads?
Yes.
Mhm.
Excellent. And the tusk goes behind the hat. This is 17 inches high. These are fairly big pieces.
Why are the hats different? I mean, I know why the hats are different shapes, but what do they symbolize?
Just because, can you tell from the face if this is a male or a female?
No.
No.
Yeah, not much.
Sometimes we don't have to look for really deep, you understand? We don't have to look for really deep. These people did everything visually. A lot of this is intuitive. A lot of this is concepts. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now, now someone asked about how these things got from Africa to museums. All right. We had a lot of colonization. We had a lot of taking of art. By the way, the French artists of the post-impressionist period, and then of course into Picasso, they loved this art. They thought it was gorgeous, so different than Western art, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And so much simpler in a lot of ways. They collected these things. They collected the masks. They collected the heads. They collected the ivory tusks. They drew a lot of their cubism. Picasso loved this stuff. Simple shapes. So a lot of this was taken perhaps as trade, but the British have a lot of this stuff. In 1897, you have something called the British Punitive Expedition.
Yeah.
The British were very involved with trade with the Kingdom of Benin, which is now part of Nigeria. And we still have kings in Benin. We still trace the bloodline.
Still called the Oba, too.
Thank you. Still called the Oba. And so the British wanted to institute a big trade movement at one particular time of the year. And the Oba said, don't come now because it's in the middle of one of our ceremonies. We're going to actually be finding a leopard. Okay. It's not an opportune time. Well, do you think the British respected that?
No.
Well, yes or no?
No.
Of course not. They came in with 400 men with guns and so on and so forth, and they decimated the royal palace, all the buildings around it, and they stole every single piece of bronze that was in there and took it to England. All of it. Not only these from the royal altars, but plaques. They used to do beautiful plaques all over the palace walls as decoration, also lost wax, also made of bronze. That's how the British got a lot of this stuff. Now, whether or not a lot of this is going back, that's a political question.
It's a big one, too.
What's that?
And not from the British Museum. The British Museum.
You got it, because they're not giving back those Elgin marbles either. Okay. May I go on?
Mhm.
Okay. How are we doing so far? Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Oh,
Oh my goodness gracious.
oh, for acupuncture?
No, but that's a good
No.
guess. I like that. Good guess. I can see why. Because
I mean,
there
for
are
some medical thing, the big hole. I mean, either it's a terrible thing to do to somebody, or it's some sort of medical thing.
All right, well, let's analyze. We have a cap. So we know he's supposed to be a what?
King.
Important.
He's a king. He's an Oba. Okay, he's important.
Okay.
And what is he made of?
Wood.
Wood. It's made of wood. And this is owned by the priests of the village. They own it. This is usually found in the entrance of a village. Look at the stance of this figure. Look at the way the shoulders are coming towards you. Look at the way the knees are sort of bent, poised to come at you.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a friendly posture or an aggressive posture?
It's aggressive.
It's very aggressive. It's very aggressive. It's meant to intimidate.
Is it meant to protect the village? You said that it's at every village has it in the.
We're going there. Yes, it's meant to intimidate for sure. And every village would have one of these. Yeah. This is called an Nkisi and Kondo, and that's called a power figure. A power figure. Now let's analyze it further. Oh my goodness gracious. Big eyes outlined in white. What might that indicate?
Pain or fear.
Big eyes, big eyes.
Yeah.
All seeing.
Everything, right? We can see it all. Am I right?
Yeah.
We can see it all. We have these sort of spiky things sticking out of the chin. Now think back to the prestige stool with the older woman. Think back to the Dogon couple with the beard. What might that indicate? You had dried palm leaves intertwined on these spikes, which were supposed to be representative of a what?
Beard.
A beard. And what do we say about beards to these people?
Virility.
Wisdom.
Wisdom and age. Wisdom and age. I don't know about virility. Okay. I don't know about virility. Wisdom and age. Wisdom and age. Okay. Because you can have a really nice beard and be 20 and you're not too wise. Am I right?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's go to this hollowed out area.
Yeah.
Meant to hold something. Meant to hold something. The abdomen was considered the source of life, right? And the soul. Life and the soul. So without whatever goes in there, it's just a piece of wood with some metal stuck into it. But once the priest wants to engage it and make it a power figure, a power spirit, he concocts a mixture of dried herbs, powerful medicinal herbs, dried animal bones, certainly leopard would be in there, certainly birds would be in there, and plants. Puts it into that cavity. And what do these people think has happened to this figure?
It's come alive.
Come alive.
Wow.
It's alive. That's it. It's alive. Without something in there, it's not. But when that goes in there, it's alive. So we have an elderly person who sees everything. He's certainly got status. He's probably a king. He's got an aggressive stance. Now, what about all those things sticking out of the body?
They also be to hold leaves, palm leaves?
Nope, but keep guessing. I love it. Keep guessing.
Is it well, is it a coat of can't hurt me? No.
No, but I can certainly hurt you, right?
Oh, okay.
I'm aggressive.
Yeah.
And I'm wise. And I can see it all. If I tell you that this is considered a force of jurisprudence, what is that? What is jurisprudence? Justice. Justice. Oh, well, now wait a minute, Helane. I don't quite get that. Justice. So let's assume we're in a village, maybe a few hundred people, a few tribes, right? They all know each other. Everybody knows each other in this village. You all know the families, right?
Yes.
Right. You may not be related, but you certainly know each other's families. So let's assume Dick Myers and I are from two different families in this one village. And Dick Myers has promised me 5 cows. And he doesn't deliver the 5 cows. And I'm angry, right? I want those 5 cows, don't I? Yeah. So I'm going to try to get them. And he says, no, I'm not going to give them to you. So now I say, if you don't give them to me, I'm going to do something to your family. Now, if we allow this kind of inter-tribal fighting, what's going to happen eventually to the village?
It's destroyed.
Right. They've killed each other off. Because if I kill someone in Dick's family, or if I hurt someone in Dick's family, what's his family going to do to my family?
What vengeance?
Retribution.
Revenge. Right, exactly. Well, we certainly don't want that. So Dick and I take Dick to this power figure, known in that language as an Nkisi and Kondo. I take Dick to this power figure. And this power figure is going to resolve the matter. He's the arbitrator. He's the judge. Wow. This has been going on for hundreds of years in this part of Africa. He's the judge. I have a grievance. I don't want to hurt his family. I'm going to take a sharp object and stick it into this figure. That's my anger, into this figure. Dick will recognize that. Got it? And because it's that kind of a culture, he will acknowledge my anger and he will do the right thing. Is this primitive or not?
Oh, no, it's brilliant.
It's brilliant. It's brilliant. I mean, that's the word I would use.
Incredible.
So where is this from? Congo somewhere?
This is from, you want to know where, but this is all through that part of Africa. All through that part of Africa. Remember I said our slave population came from there?
No, I'm just saying because the style of art is very different from the Benin heads.
Wait, that may be because they're not living right next to each other.
Right.
But we still have the same hat.
True.
So true. So think about New Orleans. What did people?
Voodoo.
Voodoo.
Bingo, voodoo dolls.
Voodoo doll.
Right.
Now, what has happened from Africa to this country, to this symbol? What is voodoo?
Also, voodoo is revenge. You're
voodoo is just revenge. No arbitration. Am I right?
Right.
No coming to a meeting of the minds. If I'm angry, I'm going to get somebody to make a voodoo doll of you. And if he believes in this, he may die.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So look what has happened to this symbol, which I think is brilliant. Look what's happened to it as it came across the ocean.
Yeah. Europe happened to it. So this is
who said Europe happened to it?
I did, because
bingo, you're absolutely right.
Right, Europe messed it up, because this is also, is it not, if I'm not mistaken, a part of Africa where the whole concept of truth and reconciliation and everybody sitting down together and working it out.
There it is. There it is.
Yeah.
Beautifully put. There it is.
Wow.
Perfect. Wow. Yeah. And when I show this to kids, I have to say that children say, "Oh, Mrs. Rheingold, that's a really good idea." Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's a very good idea. Yes, it is. May I go on?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. I'm now going to show you a piece that's made by a living artist who was born in Ghana but lives in Nigeria. He's 79 years old. He was, in 2022, he was part of the 100 most influential people in the world, named by Time magazine. He's a university professor at the University of Nigeria. He teaches art. And let me going to show you this, because he's incorporated the whole African experience into this.
Oh, that's a beautiful piece. I've seen it somewhere.
You've seen it because he's done a lot of these.
What's his name again?
I'll tell you in a minute. It's 9 feet high by 12 feet wide. It's made completely of recycled material. Completely of recycled material. The artist, and he has different pronunciations for his name. Some call him El Anatsui. Some call him El Anatsui. Some call him El Anachui. He goes to the town dump with his assistants, because obviously he can't do this by himself. So again, it's a cooperative thing, is it not? Goes to the town dump and he brings back to his studio bottle caps, collars from beer bottles, pieces of circuitry wire from computers, and scraps of textile. Well, then let's see. First of all, what does it look like to you? Let's go that way. What does it look like to you?
It's a tapestry.
Perfect. And where does the concept of tapestry come from? Not from Africa, from
Europe.
Europe. Okay? Okay, so tapestry, connection. Yes, I agree with you. He has incorporated in this the colors of every single 54 country flags. So he's got the whole continent in here. Okay. He's got, I'm going to show you a detail in a minute. He's got the bottle caps down here. He's got the neck, the metal neck of the beer bottles here. Here they are, here they are, here they are, here. Anybody see a face in this?
Yes, there are two eyes.
Ah, yes. All right. Some people see an eye here and an eye here and a nose here and a mouth here. So there's a spirit involved in this. There's a spirit involved in this. Anybody know what the triangular trade was?
New England
rum.
sent their rum to Africa, and Africa. No, I'm sorry. I know we studied it. I can't remember it.
Okay, not a problem. No, listen, you're darn good. You're
I can help on that. I can help on that.
Go ahead.
Thank you.
Please.
The triangular trade was between the three continents,
Right.
Europe, Africa, and the Americas.
Right.
And it involved many European countries.
Correct.
And so you had the slaves, which was the black gold.
Correct.
Americas. And from America, you had various gadgets, metals, weapons sent to.
And don't forget the liquor. Don't forget the liquor.
Yeah, the rum.
Very significant.
Yes, the rum and so on to Europe. No, sorry, the weapon. From the Americas, you had the liquor, but also
Sugar.
eventually cotton and so on. And from Europe to Africa, you had the weapons.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. Triangular trade. He's incorporated that whole concept into this. Has he not?
Yeah.
Has he not? Let me show you a detail. Hold on.
Oh, how beautiful.
My goodness.
This is totally cooperative. It's labor intensive. Everybody has to work together. And this is basically trash.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is trash. It's all recycled trash from 21st century detritus. It's called Between Earth and Heaven.
Wow.
Yes.
Where's the heaven? Where is heaven?
Between Earth and Heaven, that's the name of it. He does 32 things that he does. He's all over the world now. This particular one was done for the Metropolitan, and he came to the museum in 2007, and he helped the installation. He said, this is where I want you to hang, how I want you to hang it, and so forth. He said, but once I leave, if you'd like to change it, that's fine. Because you own it. I don't own it. El Anatsui. Has anyone ever seen something like this in person?
Okay.
Gorgeous. Huge, huge pieces. 9 feet by 11 and a half. Huge pieces.
I remember.
I have a question.
Please.
I wrote it in the chat, but you said that tapestry was a concept coming from Europe. How do you know that? That surprises me.
Why?
That Native Americans or African cultures.
What is tapestry? Tapestry is woven, meant to be hung on a wall, is it not?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Tapestry meant to be hung on a wall. But, and I think I had said this to you perhaps at the beginning, and I whatever, you learned your craft, you learned your trade from your parents. If your father was a carver, you became a carver. If your mother or father were textile weavers, you became a textile weaver. They didn't hang their textiles that they made in Africa on the wall. This is a European concept, but they had textiles.
I see. So they had maybe rugs and things to put on the ground.
No rugs. No rugs. You had perhaps some clothing, some article of clothing.
So that is different than the Native American cultures. Like, you know, if you think of the Native Americans of the Southwest, let's say, the Navajo rugs and so on, it seems that the Native American cultures had the notion of weaving and
yes,
to wear. Perhaps not tapestry, perhaps not to hang it on the wall, though I thought they did that too. So
functional. Rugs are functional.
Okay. So there's a huge difference then with the African cultures and the Native American cultures in that regard.
Okay, fine, good. That's a fine connection as far as I'm concerned.
I'm just surprised by that. So that's all.
Why? What is surprising to you?
I would imagine
that they would have weaving in different parts of the world.
In Africa, yeah, and that they would do rugs, and the notion of hanging the rugs at times might
no,
exist.
These are not rugs,
right?
These are tapestries, and European tapestries were always narratives. They were meant to be rolled up and carried from castle to castle.
Right.
They were woven paintings, if you want to call it that way.
Exactly.
They were not functional.
Yes, absolutely. I see that now. Okay, thank you.
No, not at all. Great comment. All right, so
at my lunch table yesterday, there was a woman from the Dominican Republic, and she just happened to be talking about rum and how important rum is in the Dominican Republic, and that they have their rums that they think is the finest in the world, and they won't drink any rum from anywhere else.
Well, I don't know. I kind of like Jamaican rum, but that's my own personal.
Well, this was from Dominican Republic, and they had their own. They had their own view of it.
Of course they did. I understand. Let me go back quickly to the beginning, just to refresh and to review. Here's my Africa. All right, and so we have the Dogon. I'm hoping you see consistent threads here. Male, female, interdependent. Much better word, Dick. Can't exist alone. Cannot exist alone. Honor your intelligent, politically savvy mother. Okay, probably not a bad thing for Mother's Day, you think?
Yeah.
For export. Wow. I mean, I think the craftsmanship on this is amazing. Salt cellar. Older, strong woman. Yes. And the artist has made sure that we know she's old, right? Yes? How?
Her sagging breasts.
The sagging breasts. There it is. The sagging breasts. Right. Altar. Great pride in the ancestor. Knowing that the ancestor is always with us. We want the ancestor's help. We want to also immortalize our family's history.
Wow.
Because we don't write. We need to immortalize it somehow. Coral beads, first oba from the sea. Woman. Also held, remember the line comes usually from the mother, but it's a patriarchal society. Power figure. I think I agree with you. I think it's brilliant. And an artist who has incorporated a good part of the African history in his artwork. Let me come back to you now so we can interact that way. Okay, so any what's doing in the chat, Hannah?
Sorry, it took me a moment. Looks like you have a question that says, how do we know that that comment has already been talked about. It was about the tapestries.
Okay. Any other thing in the chat?
Nothing else in the chat. Does anyone else have questions?
Hi, I have one. Yeah, just in terms of relating some of the concepts to sort of worldwide art, what's interesting is the little people at the bottom of things, you know, the little carvings of other people. In a lot of European religious art in the late Middle Ages, you always had sort of like Jesus and the Madonna, and maybe a saint or two big up at the top. And then the smaller, reduced size figures who represented the donors,
right?
You know, or others who are smaller and kneeling below them,
right?
So there was also this idea of, you know, emphasizing small people at the bottom and big people at the top, if you will.
I don't see that this way at all. I don't see that these are small people.
The ones supporting the stools.
They're ancestors. They're there to support them. So they're there to support them.
Okay. Yeah,
but they're small figures.
Yes, they're small figures, because you wouldn't want to have it. How if you made the figures as big as these figures were, it would be unwieldy to carry around.
I see your point. Actually, the small figures are the supporting ancestors.
Right, they're there to remind us.
Right.
That they're always there.
Yes.
So that concept of smaller is not as important, not here at all.
Okay.
At all.
Okay, I see your point. And in fact, that makes much more sense.
Okay, I'm glad you raised that. Thank you very much. Good. Yeah. Anybody else? We're so quiet. Anybody else? Did anybody have a piece that they would love to have in their home?
That one.
This one, the Dogon?
Dogon couple's gorgeous.
The Dogon couple. You would like to have the Dogon.
Yeah.
I would love the tapestry.
And you would like the El and Anasui. Let me go all the way to him.
Yeah.
You have a wall big enough for that?
Probably not.
Okay, but remember now,
it's nice.
It's gorgeous. You should. You definitely need to Google his work. His stuff is. I say he's 79 years old. He's unbelievably prolific, very prolific artist. Still producing, still teaching.
And I love pieces of art that are related to history.
Yep.
Historical meaning, and this is full of.
This is full of it. He's got it all. He won first prize at the Venice Biennale in 2006.
That's where I saw that image, a picture.
Did you?
I didn't go, but I saw, images from the Biennale, and that's why I
What can you tell us about what is the Biennale?
Oh, well, it's just a global contemporary art exhibit.
Right. Juried. It's a juried show, right? It's juried.
And every country contributes.
Every country contributes something, but it has to be voted on in the country to send it. And it happens every 2 years. And if you're good enough and fortunate enough to be chosen, this gives you, the artist, worldwide recognition immediately. So he won first prize 2006. Yeah, very gorgeous stuff. And of course, you can also say, look at the gold. The gold could represent the money, right? The money that was made from the slave trade, the money that was made from the liquor. Yes? I mean, you can go on and on with this. He's covered, I think, every base.
The gold of Africa.
And the gold of Africa.
Which
would not come from this part of Africa. Gold doesn't come from this part of Africa.
Yana had the gold.
I have to say about the triangular trade that the Africa-America part of the triangle was called the Middle Passage.
The Middle Passage, very cruel, very cruel.
And the Middle Passage was the most lucrative part of the triangle. And it was called Black Gold, but this is where the most money was made.
And they lost hundreds of people on the trip of the trip across.
Oh, not hundreds, a lot more.
Thousands. I'm talking by boat. Yes, I'm talking by each boat. Yes, they lost. I mean,
Thousands.
really. You probably had well over 1 million or 2 million people that were brought over here in the 300 years that we were involved in this trade.
Yeah, and there's been this thread that's not the art itself that's been going through me as we're watching this. And I'm thinking about, and now as we're talking about the Middle Passage, and for people who survived and came into slavery, of coming from a culture that is so sophisticated.
Oh, excellent. Well put. This is exactly why I do this kind of art. Absolute sophisticated.
Interdependent. So generationally oriented.
Sensitive. Yep.
To be ripped and be singular in scattered.
Right.
Aside from everything that then happened, but just to come from this culture.
Yes.
Into what it's just beyond.
I know.
I agree. And that's why I do this.
Part of that was the fact that you had all of these people from different parts who spoke different languages.
Correct.
And so they couldn't, they had to figure out how to communicate with each other. Because the Europeans paid no attention to their origins, their tribal life.
Oh, right? No, Catherine, they did pay attention.
Yes, that's why they separated them.
Separated, making sure that on the ships, people who spoke the same languages were not together. And so during the Middle Passage, that is the first time that you're totally ripped apart from your individual culture, because we can never talk about the African culture. We have to say cultures, plural.
Right.
Because, as our speaker said, Helane said, just the number of languages itself tells you how many distinct cultures there were. And what is absolutely mind-boggling to me is after surviving, which many didn't, the Middle Passage, you arrive here and you're thrown into an environment that is totally foreign with people who are from Africa, but who speak different languages and have different traditions. And then you sort of reconstruct a new culture and you reinvent, you revive your own traditions, and you do more than surviving. You survive and then you give of your culture to the Americans, whether they're the South Americans or the North Americans. So there was an enormous exchange of cultures from every standpoint in terms of agriculture, music, languages, etc., beliefs that happened between the Africans and the North Americans. So to survive that is just extraordinary.
Yeah. But again, I showed you the power figure.
Yeah.
This is what happened to that concept from the time it left Africa to the time it came here. Look how it, I'm thinking of a good word. Transmogrified. Fancy word for change.
Yeah. Although another interesting aspect of what Louise said was the church. The enslaved peoples were sometimes only allowed one thing, and that was that the slave owners thought, well, we'll teach them to be Christians and then they'll be humble or something.
Well, no, not humble. That'll be their salvation.
So, well, they thought it
considered
was.
pagans.
We'll save them from being pagan.
We'll save them.
Right. And what the enslaved people did with that was they created a church that was, vibrant and alive and nurturing and sheltering.
Yeah.
It was an extraordinary version of the European Christian.
If you really want to go and see people worship, I mean, we're talking really get into it, you go to an African-American church on a Sunday when everybody is singing and moving and rocking and rolling.
Yeah.
I mean, it just fills the building. It's just unbelievable.
Watch Aretha Franklin.
I think
yes, exactly.
I think with the religious part of it, teaching their religion, it was about control.
Of course, but they thought it was, but it escaped control because people took that and used it. It is an amazing cultural phenomenon what the enslaved peoples did to the Christian church.
And it's not only just what happened to enslaved people. I mean, look at what Europeans, Americans, they take their religion and they go into Hawaii or they go into whatever other country, South America, and they use religion to help them accomplish what they want to accomplish getting from the country. Yes. So it wasn't about...
They use that as I won't say excuse, but they feel that it's a justification. It's the white man's burden. Yes.
Yes.
The white man's burden.
I mean, let's face it. I think the people that have learned the religion practice it better than the people that taught them the religion.
Indeed. Amen. But
wow, this is
better
great conversation. What?
When I say, I don't mean when I say better, I mean they're more religious, more.
There's a different kind of fervor.
Yeah,
it's different.
There's a heart that goes into it that the people that I won't say created, but that teach the religion, they don't even use it. They just use it maybe more for prestige. I'm not saying everybody, but at least governments.
Mm-hmm.
They don't really practice what they preach.
Sure.
You think?
Yeah.
You think so? I think so too. Yes, exactly.
But I want to say that I cannot, I recognize the sophistication of the African cultures, etc. But on the religious side, there are lots of problems. There are lots of problems with all religions, and there are specific problems in Africa with the intensity of the religious fervor, as exemplified by Uganda's passing this anti-homosexual rule. And I lived in Africa centuries ago, and I thought to myself, with all the positive and everything, there will be a lot of issues with modernity for a lot of the different cultures, because it goes against a lot of the traditions. And in some cultures, such as some Native American cultures, they recognize 5 different genders, female and male, and then 3 others, and they celebrate that. But in other cultures, it's very patriarchal, and it has to be, and the Christian religion influence on many African cultures is, in my view, extremely negative because of this push for the nuclear family and the patriarchy and the lack of equality, essentially. Yeah. So I'm a very big admirer of many aspects of African cultures, but we cannot look at it just with rosy glasses, I think.
Well, nothing, actually. I mean, the other interesting thing about religion, while we're on it, is the fact that it's Africa that is now producing a large number of clergy in Europe because they're having a hard time, at least the Catholic Church. And you know, the priests in Europe are increasingly of African origin because there are more people still feeling
and that's happening in South America too. The same thing is happening. The clergy is coming from the native, I use native in the people who are living there.
Indigenous.
Yeah. Indigenous. No, I don't use indigenous. No, I'm talking about people who live there.
Yeah.
Indigenous a little different. Yeah.
So eventually it's all mushing together. It's a good thing, you know. I mean,
it is. Well, it is what it is. Okay. I mean, there is definitely guys, you've been terrific. I always learn. I always learn a lot of stuff when I do my programs. I hope this has given you something to think about.
I've learned a lot.
Oh, I have too. I never knew what the nails meant in the figures. I'd seen
now you do.
With nails in them, and nobody ever explained to me what the significance was. So thank you for that.
My pleasure. The arbitrator, a force of jurisprudence. This was the judge, and everybody respected it.
Yeah.
There was no argument. Everybody respected it. That was it. Right. Wow. How refreshing.
Thank you very much, Helane and everybody. I need to go right now, but
thank you for your comments.
An enormous amount, and I appreciated the whole discussion.
Are you going to do another one? Is there going to be a second?
On African art?
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of jump around, you know. So
we're going to continue to deal with Helane and see what we can get. So these have been wonderful presentations. Thank you so much, Helane, and thank you everyone else for all this vibrant discussion and participation. I think this has been a wonderful session, and the more of these we can do, the better off we'll be.
I think you're right, Dick.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody. It's been a wonderful way for me to spend an hour and a half. So thank you so very, very much.
This recording will be up on our YouTube channel as soon as we can get it there, so you can spread it around and let other people know about it, and other people can come and participate and appreciate this as well.
Dick, and everybody be well and be healthy. Be well and be healthy.
Dick,
thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Take care.
Valerie, did you have a question for Dick?
No, I didn't have a question. I just wanted to let those of you that have attended this for the first time know that Helane has done previous, she's done previous ones like this, different periods. And this is the African one. The one before this one was the African-American one, which is very, very interesting. And you can go onto our website and see the previous ones that she's done for the village. Very good.
Oh, okay.
So what did they say in New York? They say, thank you for that. The check will be in the mail. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
It's been my pleasure, guys. This group is always very interesting because you bring such fascinating backgrounds and perspectives. It's just really, it's my pleasure.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Be well, be good.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you, everyone, for participating.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
Anna, thank you so much. You were ace.
Oh, fantastic. Good.
Okay. You got a pass, a very passing grade from me.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, sweetheart.
Super
Thanks
interesting.
Have good rest of the day.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.